Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share my review of the One Ring 2nd Edition Moria through the Doors of Durin from Free League Publishing. This is written by Gareth Hanrahan, and this 226-page hardcover arrives in stores on August 1st. It's going to carry an MSRP of $44.99. Now, if you order from Free League Publishing, you will receive the PDF absolutely free. Do also want to point out the PDF is not available just yet over at DriveThruRPG. I'm guessing we'll see it on August 1st as well, and it should carry a price tag somewhere between $19.99 and $22.99, or thereabouts. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Moria through the Doors of Durin for the One Ring 2nd Edition. A few things I want to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's very important you know that. I am also going to be giving away a copy of the One Ring Moria, the physical book, to a lucky viewer. Stay tuned. I will tell you how to get into the running, and I promise it'll be pretty easy to get into the contest. We're also not going to look at each and every page of Moria, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what you're going to find in this book. And lastly, even though this is not an adventure book per se, there is a lot of various different locations, as well as NPCs and encounters and schemes and troubles that your lore master can utilize. So if you're a player and your lore master has already pre-ordered this or they're talking about picking this up, I would definitely recommend tune out now, even though I'm going to stay away from spoilers. There are going to be some spoilers just simply as I page through. So you don't want surprises ruined simply because you watched this video. Now, of course, let your lore master know about this video. So if they are looking at picking up Moria, they can approach this and make a far more informed buying decision. All right, let's jump on in. So we start off with a very cool map of Moria. We have this in front as well as the back. So let's take a peek at the credits page. Now, there are quite a few people who worked very hard to bring this to fruition. So let's give some credit where credit is due. A lot of artists. We have some additional writing as well, not just Gareth Hanrahan, editors, and so forth. We'll point out this book is just absolutely packed with goodies. And it is not simply a region guide or a gazetteer for the Mines of Moria and the city of Dwarrowdelf. It is pretty much designed as a way to incorporate Moria into your campaigns for the One Ring 2nd Edition. So we're going to start off with a lot of information about the mines as well as Dwarrowdelf and how to approach utilizing Moria in your games. So are you going to use Moria just sort of as a thoroughfare that your adventurers are traveling through? Or will Moria be the subject of a campaign? So there are some tips and advice for utilizing this book for either of those. If you are going for a campaign, keep in mind, this is not a setting like a mega dungeon or anything like that, because the reality is Moria is the tomb of the dwarves. This is not some living, breathing metropolis by any stretch of the imagination. At this point in time, the underworld is essentially a land of death. So we've got our orcs, we've got our goblins, we've got the Balrog. We have other challenges that the adventurers will face. We also have some allies that they can make along the way. As I had mentioned, this is not an adventure collection or adventure book by any stretch of the imagination, but we've got loads and loads of locations. And in those locations, we're going to have different NPCs. We've got schemes and troubles for your Loremaster to utilize those locations. So we're going to delve into that in just a few moments when we get to that section. But that is the main focus of this book. It is not simply, oh, here's this big map. It's all keyed, and you're going to go from here to here to here to here and so forth. That is not how this book is presented. Speaking about presentation, love the layout, very easy to come to grips with everything that's included in here. Artwork throughout is excellent. I really like the artwork that's utilized in the One Ring second edition. The line art, really cool throughout. It just has that Lord of the Rings feel to it. So I definitely dig that quite a bit. As far as production quality, the paper stock is fantastic. It's what we've come to expect with the One Ring releases from Free League Publishing. We're also going to get a section here that's going to change up some of the rules, specifically the journey sequence for the One Ring second edition. If you're not overly familiar with the One Ring, it is a relatively rules-light role-playing game. It is far more concerned with the storytelling aspect of Tolkien's work as opposed to crunchy combat. Now, there are some tweaks to the combat stances, which we'll actually see on the back of this poster map, which I will show you at the end of this review, that I thought was very cool. And I like the way it's presented quite a bit. And of course, this is that map that we saw earlier, just poster size. So, of course, we've got some random generation tables for areas of Moria that the Loremaster can create on the fly. We have a section here with the various different enemies that your fellowship will face off against, including a variety of different orcs and goblins. And of course, we have to have the Balrog. It wouldn't be much of a source book about Moria if we didn't get the Balrog. So really nicely done and very easy to incorporate any of these into your adventuring. Once again, not everything is going to be an enemy or a foe that the player characters have to fight against. There are other members of the free peoples of Middle-earth who are exploring Moria. Now, the largest portion of this book is devoted to the various different locations in Moria. I am going to get into that in just a moment, but I do want to let you know, how can you get into the running to win a copy of this book? Pretty simple. First of all, you must be a subscriber to the Gaming Gang channel, and hopefully you give this video a like. And in the comment section, let me know who is your favorite Tolkien dwarf and why. And I will actually be selecting the winner during the August 7th live edition of my show, The Gaming Gang Dispatch, right here on YouTube. And that streams live at 7 p.m. Central, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. So be sure to jump into that contest, and I will ship the book anywhere I legally can ship from the United States around the world. So there is that. I will handle the shipping cost on it. So by all means, get into the contest. All right, so as I started to point out, the largest portion of the book is devoted to various different areas of Moria. So we get information about how well known is this area. So it might be famous, or it might be obscure, or it could be hidden. So none of your player characters would know anything about that locale prior to possibly stumbling over it or learning about it from somewhere else. We'll get a rumor about that area. We will also get into some keyed locations. So we'll have a bit of artwork that is keyed with various different locations. We'll get some background about that area as well as important NPCs or creatures that the player characters will encounter, as well as schemes and troubles, ways for your lore master to incorporate these areas into your adventures. So as an example, we've got the Great West Cave. It is obscure. So we get a rumor, we get some old lore. Here's our background. Then we got our locations, the stone ghost, and then schemes and troubles. Really like this quite a lot. And I love the fact that this is not designed as some sort of a mega dungeon, because that is not the sort of game that the One Ring Second Edition is geared towards. And I love the fact that we have all these different locations that we can kind of string together as lore masters without having to go in a linear fashion as far as your adventurer's approach to exploring Moria and Dwarrowdelf. Really nicely done. The ball rug's thrown. It's hidden. And just love the artwork. As I mentioned previously, so cool. And there is quite a lot of artwork in here too. So I like that a lot. So we're going to get into a bit of an index, which will have some magical items. We have our solitaire play section for those out there who have the Strider rules for the One Ring Second Edition. So you can utilize this with those rules. You can play solitaire, so you can create a character as well as different allies. So just a single person can adventure in Moria using their own fellowship that they put together. There's a lot of page space which is devoted to the solitaire rules. Information about, large-scale battles, playing solitaire. So this really does expand on those Strider rules. And if you are somebody who plays the One Ring Solitaire, you really want to pick up Moria, because it's going to provide so much more for your game table, not only aimed at playing in Moria too. So I like that quite a lot. I have to be honest, I would have liked to have seen one or two adventures in here, possibly one which would introduce the player characters to Moria. Now, granted, I'm not looking to have a complete adventure book, but I would have liked to have seen some examples, just maybe a couple, one to get things rolling, and then maybe just an example of an adventure set in one of those locations. We also get some information about Balin's expedition if you want to set your adventures during that period of time. Now, if you're not overly, once again, familiar with the One Ring Second Edition, it is set after the events of The Hobbit, but before the Fellowship of the Ring. So you can kind of slip on into a period in Middle-earth to set your adventuring. Before we wrap up, let's take a look at that poster map real quickly. Really nicely done. Very cool. And then on the flip side, we actually get this visualization for the combat stances in the One Ring Second Edition. And then we get a breakdown, choosing your stance, engagement, player hero actions, fly, you fools. So it makes things a lot clearer for players and especially newcomers to the One Ring Second Edition. So I like this being included on the back of the very cool poster map. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because I'm going to share some final thoughts and give my review score. Really impressed by Moria through the Doors of Durin. Really, really nicely done. I should also mention that there is an edition coming out on the 1st also for the Lord of the Rings role-playing. It is Shadow of Khazad-dûm. And I will say you can take my thoughts about Through the Doors of Durin and certainly apply those to the Lord of the Rings role-playing edition. It's simply just a change in mechanics because that uses 5e mechanics, whereas this uses the rules for the One Ring second edition. Super impressed. This is an excellent book. Really love the production quality, top notch throughout. I really appreciate that Gareth Hanrahan has taken what's essentially not that much information about the Mines of Moria and really fleshed things out, really filled in a lot of blanks from the short amount of information that's out there from Tolkien's writing. Also appreciate the fact that this is not some bustling metropolis. It is a world of loneliness and gloom and death. Mines of Moria is the tomb of the dwarves, and I really appreciate the fact that that is driven home time and time again in this book. Now, it is not completely lifeless, but it is a tomb. So kudos to Gareth Hanrahan. Really, really nice work with this. The solitaire rules look interesting. I have not played the One Ring second edition solitaire, so I can't really tell you how well those will work at your game table, but presentation is really nice. I do wish that there had been a couple of adventures, especially one just kind of as an introduction to the Mines of Moria, to give Loremasters kind of a feel of maybe how to put things together. It's not crucial, but like I said, I would have liked to have seen that. But this is just overflowing with various different locations, very unique NPCs, a lot of entertaining things going on that you can introduce your fellowship to. Really, really well done. On a scale of 0 to 10, I give Moria Through the Doors of Durin for the One Ring second edition a 9 out of 10. It is that good. You can also apply this score to the Lord of the Rings role-playing edition, which is coming out also on the 1st. All right, don't forget, get in the contest, get into the running, because I want to give away a copy of this book. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't, and if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.